Welcome to Urban Hood, your learning platform. Urban Food Alliance is a 501c nonprofit which reaches out to the needy and the homeless who need warm, fresh cooked, nutritional meals. Urban Food Alliance services the needy in our neighborhoods. Urban Food Alliance works in conjunction with Urban Hood and Speak EQ. Urban Hood is a free learning platform to promote personal development and financial awareness. We simply ask our visitors and members to make a donation to Urban Food Alliance if they are gaining from the knowledge provided. Speak EQ offers classes at low cost and donates the profits from those classes to Urban Food Alliance. Our mission is educating families to build and preserve capital. Our vision is that all families deserve happiness and financial freedom.
Lines of people formed outside of this New Jersey restaurant today. Khan Baba of Franklin Park offers free meals to families every Friday during lunchtime. The response from the community has been overwhelming.
I think it's great because there's a lot of people that are not working and we're all suffering. You know, we have kids, grandkids.
It's very simple. You walk up, they ask for your name, address, and phone number. They asked me how many children I had, and they gave us some little goodies, some snacks for the kids.
Today I'm seeing an enormous amount of people that need help, and it's really it's sad. But we are very happy to help in any way that we can.
The Urban Food Alliance to reduce starvation in local neighborhoods.
And what I see, the Spanish community, they don't get nothing. So I was thinking to help them out because mostly they work in the restaurant business and they lost their job.
In the state of New Jersey, 1 out of 7 people sleep hungry. That's when I said, look, you know, if you look around, your neighbors can go hungry.
Guys, thank you guys for joining. This is another day for our midday live stock trading. I know that many of you might be joining us first time. I wanted to first introduce myself. I am Mushi Bhuiyan. I'm with Urban Food Alliance, aka Urban Hood. Urban Hood is one of the entity for Urban Food Alliance where we promote education, we promote learning, and it's a non-profit organization. Here we all come together with like-minded people who wants to learn and grow with us. I just wanted to find out if anyone who joined us today, is this the first time you joined us? Can you unmute yourself, introduce yourself? How did you find out about us?
Oh, yeah, this is my first time. This is Cindy.
Oh, Cindy, it's not first time. First time you joined our midday live. But I wanted to find out, I know we have members in the group that did never joined us before. Just can you unmute yourself, introduce yourself?
Hey, this is Rajender. This is the first time I'm joining. I came to know some of WhatsApp groups, link came in.
Mm-hmm.
Stocks, anything related to Wall Street stocks is interested me. So I joined there. I have 2-3 different places I go read and do that.
Uh-huh.
So I just really want to understand how around the world people will trade. So I just big background. I was trading for a long time, not much profits, but learning curve always upward. That's I like it, and
right.
So I allowed to learn a little bit about options if can.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to learn that recently.
Okay. Yeah. Welcome, Rajender. Rajender, thank you for sharing. Anyone else?
Yeah, I can go next. My name is Mohammed Yassin. I actually heard about you guys. I was intending on joining the class when you guys came to McLean area in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
However, I couldn't join that weekend, but I had a lot of friends who joined, and they told me all the great things they learned. And actually, when you guys came, I was just learning about options. I was trading stocks. I've been trading stocks for the last few years, and return I've been able to net income on them, but I recently picked up option trading, and I guess I had beginner's luck when I first started, and I was like on a roll, like one after the other, and I was like, wow, this is easy money. And then as I started doing more researching and stuff, I like completely it's like the complete opposite now. So I'm just here to sharpen up my skills, get a better understanding on how you can read graphs and just what it takes to really become a better day trader and understand option trading. Um, because I can tell you from fact is like sometimes I'll sell too early and I'm like, oh man, I could have made this much more money, or I sell too late and because of greed. So just having feel for things. But yeah, thank
Welcome
you so
all.
much.
Yeah,
Yep.
welcome. I'm glad you were able to join this time. And well, I will take one more. Anyone else? I just one more, and then before we continue our program.
Mushi, we have a Batman in the group.
Batman, can you? I know. Can you unmute yourself, Robert? Introduce anyone else? And in future, please do know that use your real name. We are a professional organization. We are learning. We want to know who are the people come join us. So this way we can address you with the proper naming. So please do use your right name. And one more person. Okay.
And this is Jay, another request. It's not just your proper name. A lot of people join Zoom meetings with just iPhone or Samsung Tab or something. So please rename your Zoom software itself. That way, you just don't show up a bunch of iPhones on the participant list. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Gerald. Now let's okay. Before I hand over to Delavar, just so I know we have Aziz and others are in the group also. Aziz is there somewhere, right? Aziz? Yeah, I see Aziz. I'll make you also co-host. Co-host, please do keep an eye on this, and let's see if Kunal is here. Usually he's good at maintaining that. Yeah, keep an eye on in the room just so that we can maintain the noise. So before I hand over to Delavar again, welcome guys to join us. We are non-profit organization. We teach people, when I say we teach people that what we do. I'm a trader. I have many other friends who is a trader. So we teach people from our lifelong experience. So one thing I want to let all of you know that just think of this. If you want to make a change of your health and then you go membership from a gym and you got a membership for a whole year, but you never put a step in the gym and burn and put your labor, do you think you'll transform, get the result you're looking at? I'm sure now you know the answer. So this is what we're trying to tell people. Many times people say, what, I joined this, and then I missed your sessions. I missed the class. But then we do not know how many of these people truly learned and took a note. We kept asking people, take a note. And also we shared videos. So people said that, can I get a recording of those videos? Now with the technology, it got evolved so much that we are able to tell who are the people watching those videos and how much you watched. And then when you come in the public chat program and you say, what, nothing is working. I'm not, tell me what to buy. I can tell you, get a membership of the gym, but I can also coach you. We can guide you, but it's up to you. Take the responsibility. Sometimes you need to shut up this guy and what's up and just focus on your objective. What's your objective? Taking care of your health, becoming healthy, or getting a muscle, whatever it is. You have to put the time. You have to take the responsibility. So this is what we offer at Urban Hood, that we offer education, but we also want you to be accountable. So some of the people just ask me, tell me what price to buy. We said, we already teach you how to do this. My price and your price cannot be the same because my risk level, your risk level is not the same, right? So understand those. We are going to teach you some technique you're going to share, see, but then after that, we want you make the decision because it's your hard-earning money, all right? So without further ado, go ahead, Delavar. Just please do share and know that we promote education. We want you to learn, ask questions. At the same time, take the responsibility that you have to take actions, and by staying in the WhatsApp chat is not going to get you the result if you really want to get the result. Delavar? So Delavar is one of our very young trader. For a long time he's been trading. We are proud that he has been doing this not only for a while, and he's very successful at what he's doing. Many of you learn from him also. He is also sharing, doing classes to help the community. So some of you already enrolled his classes upcoming this weekend. Some not. You will get a link later on and in the chat line. And reach out to Abrar Aziz, if you can please to share your information. That way you can reach out. Upcoming classes happen. It's 8 hours of classes. Each class starting basic. We have advanced, we have even pro level. So it all depends which in your journey where you are at. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So let's kind of get into it, guys, today. So far with the markets, there was actually just in the morning, what we saw was a lot of H patterns forming, right? And I'm going to go over all that. So far, what I signaled was, let me see. I didn't really signal anything actually, but my watch list, for those of you that are following it, which is what I say in the chat, and I spoke about this on I think it was this before the trading week started. I said that these are price levels that can be used for stocks and options, and obviously, you know, that these specific price levels are not going to be hit exactly on that trading day, right? It's going to happen within this week, right? Obviously, nothing's guaranteed, but so far I've hit 5 out of 7 targets, right? So the only one that I did not hit this week so far is for SPY and Tesla. Everything else for Netflix, AMD, Roku, BYND, and Apple, at least one of these has been hit, whether it's been above or below, right? So the way I send these in the watch list, guys, is that because obviously you can kind of have your own sentiment towards the market, but you can't really predict exactly what it's going to do, right? So you have to be ready for both sides, right? Because obviously we heard over the weekend, we heard that, you know, great news about the coronavirus vaccine, state reopening. A lot of people were bullish, but what did we see? We saw that the economy was still taking a hit towards the end of the day, right? Not really taking a hit, but, you know, having some pullback. So a lot of people were kind of confused as to why that was happening. But that just goes to show you that you have to be ready for both sides of the spectrum, whether you want to play stocks to the upside or downside, right? So that's kind of why in the watch list I put above and below, right? So that's kind of what's happening right now. Let me just kind of minimize this. So like I said, this whole day was kind of just filled with H patterns. H pattern is very simple, guys. Give me a second. Let me open up multiple just so it's easier to see. Right, so H pattern, guys, it's very simple. This is something for some of you that I heard were talking that you guys are extremely new to trading and not very familiar. This is something that you can use, right? So let's see. I think BYND also had an H pattern this morning. Let's see. Yep. So very simple, guys. An H pattern. Let me just remove some of these to clear up the space. All right, guys. So H pattern, right? What is an H, right? Very simple. This is what an H looks like. So that's exactly what the pattern looks like, right? So that's kind of what we saw today, right? For example, Facebook formed this H, and then once we saw it reapproach this previous level of support, it pierced through it, and obviously, as you guys can see, Facebook wasn't on my watch list, but this is a very simple pattern, right? BYND was something that was on my watch list. It wasn't something that I sent. And as you guys can see, it's very simple, right? You see some downside, stock kind of bottoms out, and then it tries to rebound a bit, and then it reapproaches that same level, and when it does, it breaks through it, right? But the key thing is with this specific pattern, guys, is that you need to understand that when this specific bounce happens, right, when this pullback happens, it needs to happen on low volume, right? And that kind of indicates that this is a good sign of a continuation of the downtrend, right? Because what do we see? We see that this stock is falling hard, right? I mean, BYND is taking a huge hit in the morning and on strong volume, right? That means a lot of shares are being traded behind this move, and it shows that it's a valid, it's a reliable move that you can trust. And then we go ahead and we see that this right here, we all of a sudden get some really low volume, right? I mean, look at this. We've been getting spikes all day, and then all of a sudden we get this low volume right here, right? And that's where you kind of see this specific bounce here, right? So that indicates to you that this bounce is not going to last very long. There's not much support behind this move. And then finally, we see the price kind of retest that 121.64 level, and then it literally pierces through it, and it hits almost 116. That's that.
Hey, Dlavar, I wanted to just share with the people. I think a couple people reached out to me. This Facebook trade I shared in the room, that 232 that put on Facebook that I shared on for June 26th call. So people shared, it's good. Should I buy or should I sell? And if you look at it, what is Facebook there, I have not sold it yet. I just want to let you guys know that at some point, and I see that I am an up, my risk level is different, but it tells you that sometimes by looking at it, it's all you can exit the trade and make your 100% or 60% growth. I looked at on the growth side on the Facebook. I asked him just take a look at it and share with you when to sell, because people ask, when to sell. This is why you need to make a decision. Are you happy with the 40% growth, 50% growth, 60%? Then take the growth and move on, right?
Right. Mushi, what was your strike price for that?
Mine start 232. 232.
232 calls?
Put. I put on Facebook. Okay. So when Facebook was already 235, 240, it touched, I kept buying. I kept buying Facebook because I am in long term with Facebook. So this also comes with the stock trader. Sometimes you use stock trading background, because I have seen Facebook long term that it does not, it's 220 above, it did not stay. So right now it's a momentum, market is up. Facebook is going to come down, and today it touched 215. And it's going to go down. You'll see that if market keeps going down, at some point, Facebook, usually social media gets hit. So Facebook stays around 200 range. Okay.
Right.
So that's my reason of not selling it, because I know that I can get more out of Facebook.
Right. Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm going to keep buying more stock also. When it come down around 200, I'll buy a couple more stocks to keep my long-term portfolio on the stock side. So I'm taking advantage on the both sides. You see that on the sell side, when it's going down, because I'm looking at it, I already have options put down, and then I did not sell. But that's my level of the risk and the strategy I created. So we want you also think same way. I don't go all the chat and everything happen every single time somebody said buy, 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 buy. We all should have certain amount of stock in your portfolio, 10, 12, don't go too many. Have around 10 stock that you really know about the company, and then try to follow them. That's going to give you some discipline action to build for your portfolio. Okay?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back to you, Dlavar.
Yeah, and I also kind of want to add to that, just because a lot of people try to enter certain trades, but you need to understand that everyone has a different risk tolerance, right? Because some people are just getting started within trading, and they might not have as many profits, whereas someone who's been trading for quite some time, they have some profits, so they can take on a different amount of risk, right? Because they're kind of playing with house money at that point. So keep that in mind when you kind of enter a trade. You always want to do your own due diligence, but when it comes to assessing your risk, right, I usually like to stick to a 2% rule. Especially with options, right? Depending on if you're doing short-term options, I stick to this 2 to 4%, right? You don't want to put more than 2 to 4% of your portfolio on a day trade, right? Just because if you enter a day trade and you put 50% of your account in there, and this specific trade goes south, you're going to lose 50% of your portfolio, and that's just not worth it, right? One thing that I always tell people that there's something called FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. And many times, I personally did not catch this Facebook drop, and I could have made a decent amount of money on this, right? But I have to keep in mind that it could have went the other way, right? That's just the way you have to think of it. And there's going to be many more opportunities out there, right? So I'm going to kind of look at any other stocks that I'm looking at today. I think Roku played out really, really well. As you guys can see, it very, very similar to something that I said earlier. It's a clear H pattern that formed, right? These were my key levels. Something that I signaled in the chat yesterday as well. I said Roku below 107 has room to 105.24. And then I said below 105.24, it has room to 101. And as you guys can see, that these key levels are very strong, right? And this is all based on technical analysis. And, there's nothing really nothing crazy going on over here. But just to kind of show you, this is all simple price action, right? You guys can use these moving averages as guidance, but overall, I like to keep my trading very simple, right? I sometimes even get rid of these moving averages, and all I focus on is these specific price levels. And like I said, guys, very simple pattern that we're seeing is this H pattern right here, right? We see this kind of H pattern form. We see this price kind of bounce. And remember what I said, guys, anytime that this price bounces right here, it needs to happen on low volume, and that's exactly what it does, and that indicates that this continuation is possibly going to continue, right? And that's kind of what happens very clearly, very nicely. We see a clean break, and then we kind of see it hit 101, and yeah, 101, and then it kind of makes a movement back to the upside. Now, I'm seeing most stocks are actually kind of retesting their previous levels of supports that are now resistances. So, for example, Roku is trying to break this 105.24 to make some room back up to this 107. But as you guys can see, it's having a hard time to do it. It's kind of forming an inverted H pattern, right? As you guys can see, made a trend up. If it can break above this 105.24, I think it has room to 106.50 first, right? And then above that, I think I get 107.68. For those of you that might be a little confused, guys, just bear with us with time. And as you guys come to more of these sessions, you guys are going to become a little bit more knowledgeable of exactly what I'm saying. And also within our technical analysis class, right, we go over all this and how to kind of place certain price levels, right? Yeah, so let's kind of see, is there any specific stock you guys want me to take a look at? Just because I personally don't really see anything in the market right now. Everything just kind of flat. We're seeing some consolidation. We don't see any significant moves happening.
Yep.
So
can you pick up Shopify, SHOP? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and guys, while I'm waiting, while you guys are waiting, you guys can also write your tickers within the chat box, and I'll take a look at it as well. Okay. Let's see what's happening with this. I think this was something that we spoke about last, I think in our stock market talk on Sunday. I think we spoke about it yesterday as well, where Shopify, yep, we said it was in a triangle pattern, and we said that it has a strong level of resistance right here. So this 770 level was fairly strong, and we said that a break below this, we can see some downside. And as you guys saw, that it broke yesterday, and it obviously got pushed up today. But let's kind of see exactly where it's headed. This right here was a strong level. As you guys can see, it bounced from it very strongly, pierced through it today. And guys, like I said, the H pattern is something that's very common, especially on an intraday level. As you guys can see, we see clear H pattern form. We see this little bounce that happens on low volume, right? Indicates that this is not a strong move, and then we kind of see this continuation happen to the downside. I personally don't like trading Shopify just because sometimes the spreads on this thing is huge, and it can get a little expensive, and I just don't see the risk to reward sometimes. But as far as what it's doing on an intraday level, I think it's going to retest this moving average right here. It also kind of confirms that because it is a key level right here at 742. So let's see what it does. I think the first stop it's going to hit is 735 area. So it's currently trading at 730. It can kind of pop to 735. Above 735, then it has room to this 740 level for that. And it's kind of pushing up really nicely right now on a decent amount of volume. Let's see. Let me check the chat as to if anyone else is saying.
Thank you.
Hey, Dlavar, quick question. See, every stock like a H pattern, everything is bounced down and came back to the same level now. What is your take on it?
Yeah, so essentially what I'm doing is I'm actually just kind of waiting, right? Because every stock kind of, like you said, broke out of that, broke to the downside on that H pattern, and now it's kind of retesting it, and that's kind of what Facebook is doing. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of waiting for it to break a level of support that it has. So let's let this thing load. Give me a second. So basically, a lot of the stocks, like you said, took some downside. Now they're trying to retest those levels. If we get a break above that, especially on the SPY, let me open that up. SPY, guys, is an ETF that measures the market. So if we get some good news about the market, this thing goes up. If we get some bad news, this thing goes down. If nothing's happening, it's either most likely flat or, you know, not making any crazy movement to the upside or downside. So that's something you guys can use. But most of these stocks are trying to retest their previous levels.
Yeah, and so in this scenario, like
As you guys can
just
see right now,
yeah,
this 300
and
level was a key level.
so my other question is these kind of patterns, H patterns. What is your like a suggestion, like when to enter, when to exit, to gain the profits, like a kind of thing? What is your suggestion?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, so can you guys see my screen or is it frozen? I think it's showing it's a little frozen.
Yeah, it was, but now
Are
it's.
you guys
I
able
can
to
see
see my
the
screen?
graph. Yeah, I can see the graph.
All right. All right, perfect. Yeah, so basically what I suggest as far as this H pattern is, obviously first thing you want to see is you want to see kind of this aggressive move to the downside. Once you identify this aggressive move to the downside, you want to be able to highlight a level where the stock price is kind of being supported, right? Where it has a level of buyers sitting, right? And that's kind of this level right here, right? Now that you see this, you have to understand that the price is going to have this mini pullback, right? It's going to have this mini bounce. And when the price bounces at that level, it's going to bounce on low volume, right? So that's something you want to keep an eye on. Because if that price begins to bounce on strong volume, then it indicates that this is going to kind of possibly bounce back up, right? Now, what you want to see is that this yellow line that I drew, once the stock price touches it and bounces up and then tries to retest it, the first thing you want to look for is a break below it, right? That's going to kind of confirm to you like, okay, this can possibly see some more to the downside. But the next thing you want to focus on is that you want to look on the 5-minute chart and you want to see the candlestick close below the previous level of support that it had, right? And that's kind of what you see here. And then at that point, it confirms that it has some more move to the downside. So even though you might not be able to enter on this candlestick right here, you can possibly enter on the next one, right? So I would have entered on this break right here and then rode it to the downside.
Can I ask a quick question on that? So based on like where it's at right now, would you predict that it's going to go up a little bit more and then fall down and test that? Or I'm just trying to like, so like right now, like it looks like it's trying to trend up, but then it's not. So it's like flattening out.
So right now, so right now what it looks like is it's trying to trend up. But one thing you guys want to keep in mind is that when the current candlestick that you're looking at, right, if you look at the 5-minute candlestick, as you guys can see, the stock price went to as low as 299.46, and then the buyers pushed it up aggressively above 300, right? That indicates that there's some aggressive buying that's happening right here. That indicates that there's a strong buying pressure being built up around this area, right? Now, keep in mind that this right here is a level of resistance, right? Because we saw that the price level came crashing down and tried to break above it, but then it got rejected right here around the 358 level. And then it continued to make its move to the downside. Now it's trying to break above it, and it's not able to do that, right? So now, like we said, it's trying to uptrend, but there needs to be some aggressive selling happening around that 358 level. A break above that, then I think it can continue making some move.
So earlier in the morning, you said at 300 there is a strong support. Was that based on the H pattern?
Yeah. So 300 was a strong support level. No, that was based on my technical analysis, right? So that's one of those levels of support and resistances that I drew. Let me just load it up. That was just a key level, right? Because 300 is a key level for the SPY. If the market is able to hold above 300, I said that it would be looking very bullish to me. But like as soon as it broke below it, the stock began to see some downside. So that was based on my technical analysis. That was based on me drawing my level of support and resistance.
Hey, I have a question, not related to this topic, but if you could allow me to ask that question on one stock and guide me on that.
I'm sorry?
I have a question on one of the stocks, if I may ask, please.
Yes.
So I bought NVAX day before yesterday, and they were working on a vaccine, and they were going to start the human trials in Australia. And the stock went up pre-market like $10 or $8 up. And then the market opened, and within a couple of hours, I bought the stock, and now it is going down. So, and I know these biotech stocks are going up in one day, and the next they're going back. So now what should I do? I bought 200 stocks for that, and I'm worried about my $10,000 is kind of stuck there. So what do you advise me? Should I wait for the test results in July and then sell it, or is there any strategy?
Yeah. So first thing first is like, what is your risk tolerance, right? That's the first question you want to ask, right? If this stock goes to zero, are you going to be able to tolerate it? Not saying that it will, but you have to understand that stocks can take a hit, especially a stock like. So let me pull up the chart.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just going to pull up the chart.
Okay.
Yeah, so NVAX was something that we spoke about in our stock market talk. I'm not too sure if you joined that day, but we said to keep in mind that the NVAX is something that's very speculative right now, just because it's news driven, right? So when a stock significantly shoots up, when there's any news, you have to keep in mind that it can shoot just as down when there's negative news that comes out, right? So it depends on your risk tolerance. Are you like I said, it all depends on your risk tolerance. I'm not too sure exactly what your risk tolerance is. What you can do is, if you're not able to take the current...
What do you mean by risk tolerance? And I'm sorry, I may be a layman asking this question, but I
well, no, that's fine, that's fine. Yeah, so risk tolerance is basically how much money you're willing to lose, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so for example, let me give you an example, right? So for example, someone like me who's been trading for quite some time, my account size might be larger than someone...
Hey, Dlavar, can I just jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
The gentleman who is asking question, what is your name? On the phone, we do not see your name.
Wahid, created it. Why don't you see my name?
Okay, yeah, we see that Wahid connection, right? You know, we see that you are talking through the phone. That's fine. Just want to know what's your name. Yeah, that's fine. Just go ahead. Continue.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. So what I mean by risk tolerance is how much money you're willing to lose, right? How much risk can you tolerate, right? So for example, someone like me who's been trading for quite some time, or Mushi, we might have a different risk tolerance, right? Whereas someone who's just kind of getting started, they don't know exactly how the markets behave. They're not familiar with the up and down trends. So they might not be willing to put $10,000 into a trade versus someone who is, right? So that's kind of what risk tolerance is how much money you're willing to lose.
Yeah, I'm willing to lose $1,000 on it, and if I get back my $9,000 out of $10,000, I'll be happy. Like
how much are you down right now? How much are you down right now? Are you down?
I am down. I bought it for 53, and now it is on 43. So I'm down $10 per stock. I bought 200 stocks.
What about the percentage? What's your percentage loss? Does it say?
I have to check that, but I think at this point I'm losing $2,000 around.
I think that's about 18%. I think that's about 18% loss, right? So when it comes to kind of assessing when you should back out of a trade or whatnot, don't focus on the dollar amount. What you want to focus on is the percentage, right? So so personally, I like to exit a trade when it's at a 20% loss, right? Or what you can do is since NVAX can possibly have some move to the upside, you have to keep in mind that because it's such a speculative stock, because it can possibly shoot up, right? Just because of the vaccine news or whatever. Maybe what you can do is, instead of selling your entire position, you can just take 50% of it off the table right now, right? Just to kind of protect your downside and leave the rest there, right? Or you can do 25%, right? Take about 25% of the shares out and then slowly do that, right? Because if it continues going down, then you can you can maybe buy more, right? Just because of the news that we can.
Yeah,
possibly
just to balance it out, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm afraid if I buy more and it never comes back, then I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if that's if that's what you're kind of worrying about, you probably shouldn't take on a trade like this, right? Because like I said, man, there's a lot of opportunities.
Dlavar, can I jump in if you can? Like trade like this, I think especially biotech and pharmaceutical on the folks, so that sometimes you just have to understand a little bit fundamental on this. So that's why, that's why what he's sharing is all technical. He just look at the chart, he tells you what happens in the short term. So those who is new, just under the chart gives you your what you see in front of you for short term. Chart does not tell you what's going to happen in future. That's why sometimes when we teach classes what that means fundamental. In the fundamental, you learn more about inside about the business. You learn about the management who's dealing with it, and you learn what type of product and services they have. So it gives you a little bit stronger conviction. So when time like comes, this comes knowing that okay, this is still good buy, and then you buy more, because even though like what Dlavar says, his risk level is 20%. My risk level on some stock that I believe in, I'm willing to go up to below 50%. I'm still buying it because I know they're a strong company. They will turn around. Right?
Yeah.
That's what.
No, I agree with that. It's just that these biotech these vaccines are so tempting that the news when it comes, like the stock goes up right away, $10. And I was reading the news last night. I was watching the CNBC and I read like 3-4 articles, and I made my mind, and I was like, this is kind of an informed decision that I'm making. So I bought this stock, and I assume that it will go up by end of day. It will go more up, but then it started coming back, unfortunately.
Can I add something here, Mushi? This is JJ.
Go ahead, JJ.
Hey, so I think this is a good example of who was this? What was sorry? Wahid. Sorry, yeah, not to pinpoint exactly at you. I think in terms of stock picking, also, guys, please make sure you have your good research done. Just reading one night before news is not going to help you. So for example, the other day, the article in I think Barron's or CNBC was, there are 100 companies who are chasing the COVID dream, right? We call it COVID dream because there are 100 companies who are trying to make it or break it, including the big names like Pfizer and Merck, including the very, very small names like SRNE, which have suddenly doubled up. Now, if you tell me that you have the energy and the capital to chase 100 companies, God bless you. Okay. Yes, everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to risk a little bit of capital. So that is why, as Mushi said, come to the other sessions where we are discussing. Even for a speculative, what should be your strategy? And if you want to play in biotech, there are ETFs. They will not give you a 25% return, but you will still get up to 5, 7, 10%, which I think is a great return, considering that you are worried about losing your capital. Okay, go ahead.
No,
I just can I jump in as well? This is Sunil here.
Go ahead, Sunil. Go ahead. Then Jaraj.
Yeah, I think this is a very good question, actually, Wajid. Let me tell you one thing. In stock market, there are not two things. There are three things, and often we miss the third thing, which I'll tell you in a minute. First thing is the technical analysis. Second one is the fundamental analysis. Yeah, actually, the fundamental analysis comes first, then comes the technical analysis. The third part is the time-driven, which I call it as a technology. Pharma comes under the technology sector, which is pretty much news-driven. When you said that you read something about NVAX yesterday, probably you read only about the good things about NVAX and good things about the vaccines. What you probably didn't read is casinos opening, airlines starting, lockdown is opening up. That goes against the technology of vaccine because vaccine cannot come in 18 months. So it's not just NVAX which got hit. pretty much all COVID stocks got hit because market is opening up means you don't need vaccine, you don't need cure. That's how people look at the sentiments. So now the question is, I think the right question was asked, what is your risk appetite? I'm pretty sure this opening up might have created more number of cases, which you don't know what happens in 15 days from now. If those cases go up, NVAX has to come back. So that's a risk that I call it under technology, and the technology comes with your risk appetite, So we don't know whether the cases are going to go up, is Corona going to disappear? And it's a short-term play. So keep the technology as a good word in investing any stock. Nobody can answer that, but there's something we have to study when we put our money. Yeah. Even I have put my money in COVID. Even I'm going negative, but I know it will come back. But it's a question of patience and it's a question of risk-taking ability. So that's what I want to add.
All right.
No, I think you made a good point, especially like for a person like me who is just learning, and I don't know how to even read these charts, to be honest. So, and I'm kind of trying to invest some money in stock these days because everything is down, and I agree that Jets is a good stock. Like your airline come back, but again, like you make mistakes and then you learn from it, right? So I think I kind of rushed towards NVAX a little too quickly, where I should have, been more thoughtful.
Well, that's natural because the percentage return that you see in these COVID biotechs is so tempting.
Yeah.
That's where we get carried away
yeah.
because we don't know what happens tomorrow. What happened to mRNA? Because people bashed that vaccine. So NVAX started going up. Now casinos started opening. Now you don't need mRNA. You don't need NVAX.
Right. Okay, guys, thank you. It's a very good, healthy discussion that we are having. It's awesome. That's exactly the reason we are doing the midday update of the market like this. And Wajat, I just wanted to let you know that Wahed, it's not your fault because sometimes we are getting bombarded with also information overloaded. You do not know what to trust. Many of you may already know that you watched that what we do for with urban food, that every week when we feed the hungry people, needy people, and every week, and the media came in, newspaper, news, TV station came in, they took that more than half an hour my interview, everybody interview. At the end of the day, they covered only less than 1 minute coverage, right? In there, many of you watched there. It says it just removed all the message I was telling them to tell people. I said, guys, we have more demand than supply. If you can show that, in the past we used to do every week 500, now more than 1,000 shows up. We cannot afford if people do not donate, right? And they just put it on the newspaper, come and get food. It's a great service they're doing in the community, right? So sometimes you have to also listen. Who are the people giving you the news? And what is their incentive on that one, right? Right, and that's why we are doing this nonprofit. We have a group of people that we come together. We subscribe the services from the Benzinga, from the Flow Algo, from the Morningstar. If you look at all of those, that takes a lot of money to do this. And we put our money to get those services. We are trading together. We are educating each other. So if you, and since you are doing biotech, we have a group, biotech service, a catalyst. We subscribe that part of the paid services. So you see urbanhood.org. If you are in our Discord group, can somebody post in the link on the Discord group? You'll see in the Discord group, you will have access. We have given open to everybody this week. You'll go in there, you'll see the type of live data come from the market. And it's all free. So free for all of you guys, that you guys can enjoy to see what we are getting from the market data. And then if you decide to be part of the pool, then we can talk, right? Ask any of the volunteers. But that's what we're trying to do. Associate yourself with the people with the like-minded, and you'll get a lot of the education. Dlavar is right now is not getting paid. None of these people getting paid to teach you, how they trade. But they know the cause we are doing for the society. We are helping other people. We at the same time, we are also growing along with that journey. Okay.
No, I would love to participate in the effort, and I'm willing to give some share, and I'm more than happy to hear more about it. If you could send me some details on my WhatsApp, definitely.
Yes,
I
what I
would love
said,
to
this Urban Hood, all of you just look urbanhood.org website. We have classes, we have a Discord link. You are going to see in the chat line also shared. We have a Discord. The reason we use Discord, we have more than 2,000 people in our network right now. In 5 months, we grew so quickly. We could not do WhatsApp. We have more than 10 WhatsApp groups that got full. So we cannot keep making all the WhatsApp groups. So we speak of Discord enable us to run our platform and educate each other. Okay? And we have also Telegram.
Brother Mushi, just want to make sure that I spell that correctly. Urbanhood.org, URBANHOOD.org, right? With
Yep. That's correct.
Okay, got it. I just landed on that website, and
most of you already know my name, Mushi Bhuiyan. You can find me if you are having difficulty, and all the volunteers, each groups you are in. We have and Javed Siddiq, Gerard, you'll see Babu, you'll Jay Kotharia, you'll see Omar Haq. All of them are part of this whole community. All right, and in fact,
I know you by name on all these different GM groups. And I'm happy that I see you now.
So join us this weekend. We are doing Dlavar is teaching classes. Everything what he just said, Dlavar and others. We have 6 classes coming up this weekend. On Saturday it's going to be 3 classes, and everyone who is new, we recommend you go start with the basic. Understand the basic first, and then each class 8 hours of classes. And that's a look, guys, sometimes people do this, why do I have to pay? Everything costs money. So this food we are delivering, it costs money. And at the end of the day, we are doing it because we love to do this. And we know some of us are surgeons. So these teachers who spend their time, if they spend 8 hours, 10 hours with you 4 weeks in a row, paying $100, $125 for that class is nothing. If you feel like that's not your right type of investment, then you should not be even taking a different journey of trading. And then you just get burned, just like people told you to buy stock and you bought it, and the moment you bought it, it's keep going down, keep going down, keep going down. You feel the pain, right?
Yeah. Hey, Mushi, this is Irfan. I think you're absolutely right. The best investment is investment in yourself. So on this point, most of us are new. Can you advise us, like, what specific course, like very basic beginner, we should take? I mean, there's technical, there's fundamental, whatever, right? So what's your advice for us?
The basic. Start with the basic fundamental and basic technical. We have all 3 coming starting this Saturday. If you cannot join in person, register the class. We'll provide the recording. So let's say you have one of this weekend or something going on, at least do the registration. All of you should start doing a basic fundamental, basic technical. In those 2 classes, you'll have understanding everything what Dlavar is showing this. And those who already said, okay, I understand what Dlavar is doing, we have advanced technical analysis. We have advanced options class. And some of you already may say, you know what, I want to do some options also. So then we have also basic options class. So this way, if you cannot attend the in-person class, you will watch the recording. Only recording is going to be shared with the student who attend the class.
Hey guys, I'm sorry I have to drop, but it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you guys for all your efforts that you're doing. You guys are a wonderful team, and definitely we will sync up again.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Go ahead, Dlavar. I just wanted to jump back in to make sure people know what we do.
Yeah, sure. So someone just asked me to take a look at TQQ. Let's see. I don't really trade this or really use it. I just use QQQ itself, the actual ETF. But let's kind of see. General uptrend. It's bouncing off of moving averages. although this does indicate that there is some bearish sentiment. But as you guys can see, that this specific candlestick kind of indicates that there's a lot of buying pressure being built up. What I mean by that is anytime you see this extremely long stick, right? So first off, this entire thing is called a candlestick, right? And this right here is called a wick, right? The wick of a candlestick, right? This long line. What this really means is basically anytime you see a long line below a candlestick, that indicates that the price went this low, but then buyers came in and they pushed it up all the way up here. Right? So that kind of indicates that there's aggressive buying that happened around this area right here. That seems to be the 74, 75 area. And now the price is trading at 74. So I think a lot of people bought the dip aggressively, and that's one strong volume. So this trend kind of can continue, this uptrend that we're seeing on the 4-hour chart, right? Because many times we see that, for example, right here, we got that it kind of indicated that, oh no, it's going to go down, or even right here and even right here. Overall, we still kind of see that it's a general uptrend, especially with the QQQ. You have to keep in mind that it is technology. So, you know, stocks like Facebook, Apple, if they're going to continue making some upside, this is also going to continue. And the QQQ itself is also continuing to make the movement to the upside. Someone asked me to take a look at Overstock. Let's see where Overstock is at. Overstock. Let me start on a larger time frame. I usually like to start on a larger time frame. So it bottomed out to around $2.50, general uptrend. I don't really know the fundamentals of this. I'm just going based off of technical analysis, but it seems to be in this sort of this downtrend channel actually. Let me switch over to this. We kind of see it in this downtrend, right? So kind of what I'm seeing right now, just as a trader. It's kind of in this downtrend, right? And what I'm seeing is that it's kind of aggressively, not aggressively, but we see some strong drops throughout the trading days. But for example, again today, we kind of see the price go down to $16. Then buyers came in and aggressively pushed it back up to $16.75. But now it's kind of making some movement to the downside. So I think that it's on a general uptrend, but we're kind of in this mini downtrend, right? So if we can get a break above this trend line that I drew right here, then I think the stock is going to test this $20 level again, potentially. Yeah. So we're seeing this downtrend. If we can get a break above this trend line, I think that it's going to touch around 1872 first, and then it's going to touch 2085. All right.
What could be the down leg on this? I see that it could 15, something like that.
Let me see.
The
so it
support
has,
here.
Yeah, it has support around $16, and then it has another support around. Let me see. Yeah, it has another. Yeah, so it can potentially hit $17. So, I mean, I'm sorry, $15. So
Right.
a break below 16 has room to 15, 17. And that actually might be a strong level of support, just because we kind of see this as a general downtrend. And we see that anytime that this price touches this 100-day moving average, that's when it kind of shoots up, right? In this case, it touched right here after being on a consistent downtrend, and that's kind of what we're seeing happen here. It's around this.
And what is the lower indicator, RSI?
Yeah, RSI.
So I think RSI also should get us an indicator, right? Around 50 or below 50, around 40 RSI should be a bounce back.
Yeah. If we can get it to touch a little bit closer to this 30 level, then it would indicate that it can kind of bounce back a little bit more. Yeah.
So that probably is, you're right. I think 1525 should be a good entry.
Yeah, 15 might be a good one. Potentially. Let me see if anyone.
Yeah, I am a little more conservative. I wait for at least like 20-25 range of RSI.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, thanks. You know, yeah, everyone has a different. That's exactly what we are asking people. Just make your own kind of guideline, right? That way you know your price level that you're going to get into. Dlavar, can you try if you have one after this? See if you can do NTNX. Somebody private texted me. If you can keep that in your.
NDMX. Okay.
NTNX.
NTMX. Okay.
So that
N
Yeah.
as
Nutanix,
Nancy.
Nutanix, NTN, N for Nancy,
Yeah.
NTNX.
NTN as Nancy. X
Yep.
is 0. NTNX.
Yeah. Let me do it after because I think someone asked for this one in the chat first.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead.
yeah. So overall, guys, this one we see a general uptrend. Like I said, most of these companies that some of you guys are asking me to take a look into, it's based on technical analysis only. So if there is anything like a catalyst or some sort of news or earnings that's happening soon, that can definitely change the whole narrative. Just keep that in mind. But as far as technicals go, it's showing that it was a little overvalued at the RSI. It came back down, but we're seeing some strong volume today. We saw it hit a high of 122.5, came back down to 112. And then on strong volume, what we're seeing is that it was aggressively pushed back up. So that can kind of indicate that this general uptrend can potentially continue. I think these are new highs for this stock, maybe. Let's see.
Earnings are coming up in the evening. Maybe that's why.
Oh, are they? Are they coming up today?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so earnings. So if you guys are trying to hold this to earnings, guys, be very careful. I personally don't like to trade earnings just because they can mess you up especially if you're trading options. Obviously, I don't want to get into too much of the technical of trading options, but there's something called the Vega value of an option, and that usually increases when you get close to earnings. And then after earnings, the Vega value comes crashing down, and then your premium gets crushed, especially if the earnings end up playing in your favor. So just keep that in mind if you're trading option on this. But as far as the stock goes, let's see. It seems to be making new highs. So when a stock makes new highs, it's kind of like new territory. So that's I tend to have a more conservative approach towards it.
I think it already made all-time high today.
Yeah, it made an all-time high of 122.5. So what I'm trying to say is that when it's in new territory, I like to trade it by increments of 50 cents to $1, right? So for example, if the stock price goes above 122.5, my price target is probably going to be 123, right? Or 123.5, just because I want to be a little bit more conservative. This is new territory. I don't really have anything that I can base it off of, right? Now, if we get good earnings on this, that's obviously going to change the narrative. We can see some more upside on the stock. But keep in mind, guys, sometimes even when companies do get a good earnings report, it all depends on what is the sentiment of the investors, right? What are the investors doing? How do they feel about it? Are more people going to buy? What happens on the earnings call? So just keep in mind, that's more about the fundamental aspect. But as far as technicals go, we see a general uptrend. So if the earnings play out well, I think this thing can continue making some new highs. Mushi, what was the other one? NTMX?
NTN as Nancy, N as X, NTNX.
Nutanix. Okay, yeah. So this specific one, what we're seeing is it was a little overvalued about it, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. And let's kind of see, right? So the first thing that I'm seeing is that anytime that this specific stock gets a little overvalued on the RSI, it aggressively has been shooting down, as you guys can see. Anytime that it's been touching, it shoots aggressively down, right? Most of them sometimes take some time, they play around and then they touch it. But this one is kind of, anytime it goes above that 70 level on the RSI, it kind of pulls back a bit, right? And I feel like that's something that we can possibly see. This specific company, I don't know the catalyst behind it, like I said. So as far as technicals go, that's kind of a general trend that I'm seeing. But there are some aggressive selling happening, right? So first off, it's kind of in this consolidation. The price can't break above this 25.52, and it's bouncing between these levels right here, right? The 24.03. It broke below 24.03. So right now, that's kind of what it's in. It's kind of stuck in this channel, right? So as far as technicals go, depending on whether you're trading this long-term or short-term, as far as short-term goes, what I want to see is a break below 23.2 if you want to play it on the downside. And if you want to play it on the upside, and if it has any, good news or earnings or any catalyst, what I want to see is I want to see a break above 25.52, and then it can possibly continue. But once again, there was some aggressive buying that happened, right? Stock went down to $23, pushed it back up to around 24. So that kind of shows that a lot of people are buying it aggressively. But like I said, there's a lot of big red candles here. So I would be a little careful. Also keep in mind, like I said, the RSI is a little close to that 70 value, the 50-70 value. So you might want to wait for a pullback to the 50-day moving average and then consider it a buy, because mainly what we see is that when the stock price comes down to this 100-day moving average, that's like a major level of support, right? Because anytime, so for example, right here it continued to bounce up, right here it bounced up, as well as right here, right? So it might be a little overpriced right now, so I would wait for it to kind of pull back to the 50-day moving average, maybe buy some there, and then if it continues making some more downside, I would definitely buy some more at this 100-day moving average. Okay. Groupon. Let's see. As far as the technicals go for Groupon, I think it's had a hard time to break above this $1.41. Let's see. Yeah, so we saw that the drop happened. Stock made a low of 48 cents. Let's see. It's kind of, I kind of see it being it's very flat, right? One thing that I'm realizing with Groupon, just by looking at the trend that I'm seeing, is that the stock tends to consolidate and then break out, right? So for example, right here, this is something that we're seeing, is that the stock price is kind of stuck in this channel, right? Stock price goes, bounces from here, but can't break above this. But once the consolidation ends, then the stock continues to rally, right? That's kind of a general trend with most stocks, but this is something that I'm seeing consistently with this, right? Same thing over here. We're seeing it kind of bounce between this area and I guess I would say this, and then it's still consolidating, right? So let me see exactly what's going on here. Yeah, so on a larger time frame, it's kind of bouncing between this $1 and $1.40 level. I wouldn't really touch this unless it breaks above 140 for some more upside, or I wouldn't buy. I would like to buy some if it comes back to this $1 level, just because that seems to be an area where it's bouncing off of, as you guys can see, long wicks below. So that kind of indicates that we can see some buying right here at the $1 level. What's going on today with Luke and let me see. I don't really know exactly what's going on with this stock, but I think the stock had something with a while ago actually, with them reporting. I think they were reporting falsely their earnings.
Fraud. It's a Chinese fraud company.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I don't even believe the technicals would work in this, because this is exactly. Like you don't even know what are the market forces behind this.
Right. Yeah. So someone said Jets. I think someone actually signaled this earlier within the chat, but Jets, as you guys can see, has been having some trouble breaking above this $17 level. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Oh, it's tested around 4 times and have not been able to break it. Today, I'm assuming we saw some profit taking happening, right? So people who either bought down here or bought down here or even bought yesterday, we're seeing they possibly took some profit around that 17 level. So there's I guess you can call it a wall of sellers sitting at the $17 level. If we can see them kind of, give out and the buyers can get a little bit more aggressive, then I think the stock can kind of make some room to $18. But as far as the technicals go, the RSI kind of shows that it's a little overvalued. So we can see it pull back a little bit more. But keep in mind that sometimes these technical indicators that I'm talking about, they're not 100% reliable. They're simply just confirming exactly what you're seeing, right? They're just showing you exactly what the charts are trying to portray. And once again, guys, keep in mind this long wick at the bottom indicates that the price dropped down to 15, and then the buyers came in aggressively and pushed it back up to 15.8 on strong volume. So I don't know, maybe if there's a catalyst behind this, but if the stock can continue to push up. But like I said, there's strong resistance at $17, and it's been rejected very strongly. So if it does break above this with volume and is able to hold that level, then I think it's going to continue to make some upside.
Mushi, I have a question on protecting positions, short or long positions. Whenever there's a time, maybe we can talk about that.
Yeah. Let's. I know that the JJ. Let's talk offline. That I do want to talk to you about the initiative that we have taken
all right,
for
sir.
for that.
Okay.
Dlavar, after this, just last one more. If you can put in your list the WFC. W as Frank, C as Charlie. Okay. Yes. After this, then this is it today, guys. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
One question, Dlavar. Just one question.
Yeah.
I see this very good similarity between all the airlines, including jets. How do you address that in terms of the TA?
who is playing that in a consistent way. It's exactly placed the same way since last 2 months.
In terms of what? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Now, all the airlines, if you take United Airlines or Delta Airlines or American Airlines, and you take ETF jets, the pattern is exactly the same.
Right.
So how do you address that in terms of the TA?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
so there are basically portfolio managers and funds and mutual funds who are sitting behind the airline, let's say, sector. And anytime the stocks go down, they have to rebalance their portfolio. So rather than rebalancing their portfolio and now matching on airline to airline, they simply come in and push. So remember, there is only one ETF for airlines, jets. So they push in money into jets, and then what jets has to do is to go back and invest in individual airlines. In other sectors, you will find that there will be sometimes dissimilarity between XBI or a Vanguard fund, a technology fund or a biotech fund, because the manager may have the leeway of playing around with different sectors or different companies. Make sense?
Yeah. No, thanks, JJ. I think that's one observation. Another observation that I had was when I looked at the fundamentals of Delta Airlines versus United Airlines. Delta is far better than United Airlines. Though the patterns are same for both these airlines, but the volatility for the United Airlines is so high, it's so lucrative to invest in UAL as compared to Delta. So now there is a huge difference between fundamentals and the TA here, and you make more money in UAL. This is my observation. These are just through my eyes observations since last 2 months. I think something we need to address that why it happens.
So I kind of want to add to that. So it's kind of similar to what the gentleman said earlier, but it's kind of, think of it like an index, right? The JETS is basically an index for all these airlines. So if one airline goes up, then the index kind of goes up, and then everything within that index also goes up, right? So that's kind of why you see this general uptrend, and that they look very similar in terms of how, in terms of their technicals.
Yeah, right. I think, thanks all of you guys, just putting in input. I know traders even within our community has people, they just buy like some of the airlines in the morning and they'll sell it, and they keep doing it pretty much every week. And it's consistently they're making certain percent, and they're happy with that strategy. Okay. Dlavar, if you can just maintain this wide WFC, and then one more person just asked for a long time ago. I just did not see Expedia. If you can, these two, and then that's it for the day, and then we'll end.
Yeah. So for WFC, what I'm seeing is the moving averages are looking to cross over on the 4-hour. So long term, I feel like this stock can, this is obviously Wells Fargo, so it can continue to make some movement to the upside. Like I said, I don't know the exact catalyst behind it, but what I'm going off is technicals. In terms of the RSI, it's showing that it's overvalued, so we can see a pullback to this 25 level potentially, or even 26.8. But that's kind of all we see. We saw that there was a drop that happened, but then ever since then, it's kind of been flat, right? There's really no crazy action going on with WFC. But, I mean, that's kind of how these bank stocks are for the most part. You might not get significant movement. But like I said, so far it's kind of been flat, showing it's a little overvalued on the RSI, so we might see it pull back a little bit more.
Right. The level, just to add on this one, that the guys, you know that I do the fundamental. So with this stock, it's a good price. Still, I am looking to add this in my portfolio. So just like what he just said, that I am looking to see if it pull back a little bit, and then maybe around the price, the range, what he showed, around that time, I will add for my long-term portfolio and Wells Fargo. And if you look at even Warren Buffett himself, that he dumped a couple others, but he added Wells Fargo in his portfolio too. That's for long term.
Yeah, thank you, Mushi.
Mhm.
Someone also, right before I get into the last ticker, guys, someone asked for this Micron. I think they're just rallying right now. I'm not too sure exactly why, but for a move like this, guys, if anyone is trying to either day trade this, one thing you want to keep in mind is that when we see a significant, volume kick in and this significant significant spike in the price, you have to keep in mind that it can come down just as quick. I don't know exactly what's driving this, but as far as technicals go, I can't really do any technical analysis on this because anything that's driven by news, your technicals don't really work on that. So I don't really know, but let me see what my level of my projections are. So above 46.75, it has room to 48.82 or even a 49 level. But like I said, this is all probably news driven. I don't know exactly what that is, so I can't really say much on the stock. Mushi, what's the other ticker you were asking?
Expedia. I do not know the ticker for Expedia. Somebody just said Expedia. Is it EXP? Expedia?
EXP.
Yep,
EXP.
Expedia.
EXP?
Yep, that's the one, Expedia.
EXPE.
Oh, PE? Okay. Let's add E at the end.
Expedia. So let's kind of look at the technicals. It's showing that it was a little overvalued. We did get a little pullback today. Obviously, seems to be on a general uptrend for the past few trading days. It's been bouncing off of this 20-day moving average. So what we can see is it possibly touched this blue line, the 20-day moving average again, and continue the trend to the upside. But you have to be careful. Just be a little bit more patient when it touches this. So wait for it to touch this 20-day moving average and wait for the RSI to be a little closer to the 30 level or maybe even below it, and then you can kind of jump in on this. But that's kind of all I see as far as technicals go. Overall downtrend. I'm sorry, overall uptrend, but it seems to be a very flat one. I don't see much movement going on with this stock. I'm assuming before the Corona drop, it was trading for 120, but overall, it seems to be in an uptrend on an intraday level. But even before, it was on an uptrend, and all of a sudden, we saw a significant drop happen. So be careful. I'm assuming the stock can possibly see some downside aggressively if there's any news that comes out, right? Because what we're seeing is that anytime that the stock kind of drops, it drops aggressively, as you guys can see here. So be careful, and obviously, it shoots up aggressively as well. So I don't know exactly the fundamentals or the catalyst behind this, but for the most part, it looks like an uptrend on the short term. I think they can pull back a little bit more so you can get it at a cheaper price.
I mean, is it tied to the airline stocks? Airline stocks going up. That's why Expedia is going up.
Yep, this is a travel industry, correct? The people are talking about opening up the economy, and people will travel, people will go places. That's why it's just speculation. Stock is going up.
Right.
So I would not buy it at this price, Expedia.
Yeah,
I would
wait for it to pull back. Because most of these travel agencies or all these travel stocks, you have to keep in mind that they're all up on the hope of the economy opening. There's nothing set in stone yet, so keep in mind that it's kind of just driven by this hope of the economy opening. So it can kind of pull back if we get any negative news.
And also, like, if you look at the candle, you have 4 hours chart. If you look at this, guys, it's a red. Look at the big red. So people are profiting. So a lot of people, the people like you and me, that will think, oh, look at it, it's going up. And just people, the institution, many of those guys, they are selling. They just got people like us get excited and you're buying. And the moment you buy it, what happened to my stock? These are the scenario that happen. So without knowing much fundamental, you will be victim of that. So wait on this stock before you buy it for long term.
Yeah, and another thing, guys, just to kind of add to that, Mushi, there's actually a ticker that you can use. It's called on balance volume. And what this does is, obviously, I don't want to get too in depth with it just because it's a stock market talk. But what this does is it kind of allows you to see how much volume is within this, how many shares are being traded from the previous day, right? What we're seeing is that overall today, the volume in terms of whether institutions or big money is following this, is kind of down, right? And what that means is that a lot of people took profit here at 86.55, and a lot of people are selling, similar to what Mushi just said. And also keep in mind that there's a gap right here. So a lot of people sold today. They took profits with the price gapping up. So we can see it come back to 78, fill the gap, and then maybe continue.
Right, and I think that's also another thing, guys, like what you just saw, the Dlavar just brought in, just not like giving you, hey, this is what it is. He's a very good teacher. So if you are some experienced trader, just, he's going to be teaching 2 courses with us starting this weekend. So join those classes. You learn so much, so many things that it will be priceless for your portfolio. And if you cannot attend in person those classes, we will share the recording. So it's still, you don't miss all those goodies that what he's bringing to the table. Okay. Dlavar, I know that you're doing Baba, and one more thing, if somebody says that TVIX in the chat line, if you can just, if you have time, I know that you have been generous enough to sharing. It's all up to you, bud.
No, it's okay. I'll do it. So let me just touch on Baba real quick, because so we didn't really go over Baba, but something you have to keep in mind with Baba is that it's kind of tied to the U.S.-China tensions right now. So if those continue to escalate, we can kind of see the stocks obviously continue to see some downside. As far as technicals go, I think that Baba is kind of bouncing between this level of $200 to this 206, 205 level. I don't really see much movement in this. I don't like the way it looks right now, so I'm probably not going to trade it. Let me see TVIX. So TVIX, I think this is a triple leveraged ETN for the VIX. Instead of the TVIX, I kind of just like to look at the VIX, just because it's not triple leveraged or whatever. But in terms of the VIX, obviously, as you guys can see, that the VIX has a hard time going below 28. Anytime it does, it just kind of stays above that. And today, that's kind of what we're seeing, that it's staying above 28. But we're seeing if it goes below 28, I think it has room to this 25 area. But all in all, in terms of long term and in terms of anyone who's looking to buy stocks, what I want to see is I want to see the VIX come down to this $18 or even below 20. If the VIX can come below 20, I think that that would be obviously a good time to buy some more stocks, right? That kind of shows that the fear is kind of dying out, because in a stable market, your VIX needs to stay between 13 to around $15, $16, right? Anything beyond that shows that there's extreme fear in the market. As you guys can see, we have been seeing the fear kind of die out, but it's kind of been bottomed and it's kind of holding this level right here, this 25 level. I want to see it break below 25 and come down to 20, and then possibly even fill this gap at $18. And then we can kind of see some more upside in the overall market, right? But that's it for today, guys. If Mushi, you want to close out?
Yep, that's it. Thank you guys for attending, and those who could not attend, just to know that we are going to be sharing this recording. I know a lot of educational material that Dlavar shared. You will have access to wherever you are looking at, but mostly everything we are going to be sharing in Discord education section. You'll see Discord, we have a channel education section. We will put the link in there so you can watch this recording. Thanks again for Dlavar and for others who participated. We appreciate your time. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks for watching. Visit our website, urbanhood.org, and join our community at meetup.com and look for financial freedom for you. Thank you, and we hope to see you soon.